Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Authors Up, your favorite place to be on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. At least I hope it is for those of you who have tuned in and are viewing and listening. It certainly has become our favorite place to be
Most certainly.
evenings, and we have guests and tips and tools and topics and all things that we think that writers would be interested in. Not just writers, but those of you who are avid readers, and not just avid readers. Sometimes you just want to stop by and join in the fun, and that's all right as well. So we're glad to be here. I see Linda Cooks has joined us already this evening, and we're waiting for our uh, favorite followers to come on tonight. We have a great guest who has a wonderful,
Absolutely.
and we are excited about her being with us tonight. But before we get started with our program, we're going to give you a little peek at our lives. We do it every week. We come on and we tell you a little bit about our weekend review and what's been happening with us outside of Authors Up and sometimes inside of Authors Up. But we like to share with you and let you know what life is doing. So we're going to get started. We're going to have Ruth welcome, not Ruth. Yes, Ruth. Ruth's going to welcome you, and then she's going to go on and do her weekend review, and then we'll go to Victoria, Queen Victoria, and come back to me, and then we'll go on from there. So we are weak. Ruth.
You all right there? You good, Andrea? You good? Okay.
I have nothing to say.
Holdover. The holdover from the before. So we really need to record those.
Pre-show, I tell you, the pre-show is something else. Sometimes I think we need to record that and let our listeners and viewers in on what happens before the show. They wouldn't believe it, though. Okay.
Hot mess, but it's all right.
Ruth's going to welcome you and tell you about her week in review. So I'll turn it over to you, Ruth.
All right. Well, same thing every week. We just want to say thank you for joining us. We love having you on the show. We wouldn't be a show without you. So we're grateful. But I don't know why you come to me. You know what I'm going to talk about.
Hey, baby watch. Baby watch.
We are down to 6 days. 6 days.
Oh, my God.
Due date. Yes. 6 days.
Wow.
I know she's getting tired of me texting her every day going, how you feeling? How you doing?
That's all right, because you asking for the group at large, so don't be getting upset. She'd be all right.
No. Her husband calls so when he visits and he goes to church and everybody has to stop, he calls that her fan club. So yes, I have to inquire for the fan club. So yes,
exactly right.
She is home resting with the cats until something happens. So
all right.
That's it. That's all we can. That's all we can.
Is she even having Braxton Hicks?
No.
Is she having Braxton Hicks?
No.
She probably is. Don't even know it.
No. She saw her midwife Friday. So
okay.
They were like, "You're good. Go home."
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little anticlimactic at this point, but maybe that's a good thing.
When the show gets on the road.
Yeah, so I will have more to report next time. But for today, that's it. 6 more days.
All right.
Okay.
So, Victoria, how was your week?
My week was interesting. I'm going to definitely share with you my my quest to be on my health kick again. The continuing journey. Anyway, I saw a nutritionist on Wednesday as part of my plan. And gave me a few things. The key is not to try to do everything all at once, because I think that's where I burn out at. Is I know because I know what to do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Just like, no, slow your roll. We just want you to do 2 things. So I did those. I'm doing those 2 things, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. So I feel better about myself, that I'm taking care of myself. So Last 2 days, I haven't been feeling great, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm here tonight, and I'm just grateful once again to be here. As soon as I see y'all smiling faces, I feel like 50,000 times better. So, and I'm loving the author we have tonight. So this is just this is like a boost for me every week. Anyway, I tell y'all that all the time, but it means so much to me to be here. So I'm grateful. But that's it for this week.
All righty. All righty. I don't have a lot to report. I'm
Okay.
living life vicariously through the two of you. I'm
Sorry.
anxiously awaiting the baby with the rest of the family. I'm cheering
Right.
you on in your health journey. So,
Thank
get
you.
get it. I know you go get it, get it, get it.
Yeah.
Then I finishing up loose ends, writing things I need to write, doing things I need to do. Had lunch with someone, a dear friend that I have not been able to see for some time. So I was
Good.
very, very happy about spending that time in fellowship. I love that. And just chilling. Yeah.
Oh, good.
It wasn't a tough week. Wasn't a week with a lot of unusual ups and downs. It was kind of, okay, here we go.
We'll
Called
take
on
that.
Miss Ruth for some things, even up until showtime tonight.
We
Uh,
will take that.
I feel we need to make that more normal. Just nothing happened. That's good.
yeah,
That's it.
Right.
I kind of
Right.
like that feeling, you know.
Right.
And,
Uh,
and it. And I think sometimes it's not that nothing happened. I think that we just go through life so quickly sometimes that we really forget what happens. Sometimes I have to go back in my calendar and think, oh yeah, I did do that, or I did do the other, or sometimes I just leave it alone because I look at my to-do list and I have been running, rushing, doing all day long. And I look at
right.
the to-do
Right.
list and I can't check one thing off of it. I think, what what have I been busy doing? Because it's not here, not on the
That,
list.
that that's no bueno. No
No,
bueno.
no. So I feel good. That's my good news. I feel good. Whatever the
Well,
week was,
that's good.
I
That's
feel good. So
good.
I'm good with it.
I love it.
That's what Nike Ayetta said. That's good, Elder. All right. I agree with you all. I agree with you. And thanks for joining us, Nike Ayetta. You're so faithful. We appreciate you being
Yes,
on
indeed.
us tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Miss Victoria, because you're going to tell us about our guest for this evening.
Well, we have a beautiful lady waiting in the wings. Her name is Joyce Rouse. And Joyce began her teaching journey in 2006 after earning her degree from Campbell University. With a passion for fostering growth in young minds, she dedicated 15 years to teaching elementary students of diverse learning disabilities. In 2019, Joyce expanded her expertise by earning a master's degree in training and development from North Carolina State University, further solidifying her commitment to education and lifelong learning. In 2021, Joyce transitioned to a new career in adult learning, bringing with her the valuable insights and experiences gained from her years in the classroom. Her work explores the critical role of student teacher relationships in promoting positive, safe, and academically enriching environments. This book that we're going to talk with her about tonight, called Dear Teacher, serves as both a guide and a reflective tool for educators, emphasizing the profound impact teachers have on their students' lives and learning journeys. Joyce's mission is to inspire educators to build meaningful rapport with their students, ensuring every child feels valued and supported. Well, after this brief break, we will be back so you can meet our guest for the evening author and educator Joyce Rouse, and we'll be talking about her book, Dear Teacher. We'll be right back.
And we're back.
Hey,
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome, Joyce.
I was grooving to the music. I was
Yeah,
really
Right? We do that a lot too. We love it.
Oh, yes. Joyce, welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your book. It is titled Dear Teacher, Believe in Me.
Yes. So
Okay.
the book is about a little girl who decides to write a letter to her teacher about what she needs from her to help her succeed in the classroom. And not only succeed in the classroom, but also as she going from the next grade to the next grade and to eventually into this big, beautiful world, on how to handle things throughout life. And because it's really teaching like a life lesson as well, and how important it is between a relationship between a teacher and a student.
Okay. And you know that firsthand.
Yes, I do.
All right. So, obviously, your experience inspired this book, but what made you go, oh, I need to write a book?
Thanks for asking me that question. So it started on my ride home, like back when I was a teacher. So every day, when I would get off work and I would drive home, I would always reflect on my day. So I would say, okay, if something happened that day that I wanted to change, I would go back and I'll be driving home and I'll be thinking to myself like, I believe if I do this, this may help with this. I believe if I do this, and and, and that's how I reflect on my day every day. So then when I started doing it as often, I was like, I should write a book about this. So I would go home and write down everything, that happened that day or what I did that day. And then if it didn't work, I would come back and write it down. Or, oh, this didn't work, so maybe I should try this. But I noticed when I started doing that and reflecting on my work, reflecting on what happened, when I go back and try to incorporate what I thought would work, I saw a minimum behavior problem within my classroom. And sometimes the wherever was going on would go away completely, which rarely happens. Okay, so you're educated on that, and it's going to happen all the time. But most of the time, it will either reduce the behavior or minimizing what I see in the classroom. So that's where believe in me came from, because I would say that to myself. I believe if I do this, I believe if I do that. And then when I thought about it, I was like, all I'm actually doing is really believing in the student. Like if I believe they can do this, I know they can. If they believe that I believe in them, they can do it too.
Right.
Oh, wow. That is simple but profound.
Yes.
Right.
So is that yeah, so let me ask this, because we all have our own experiences with teachers, and maybe Victoria will share hers later. Is this something that you see in other classrooms in all your experience, or was this something, there's nothing new under the sun, but
Right.
How profound is this with other teachers?
So first, I saw it within myself, right, that I had to reflect. But I did see it, like you said, I saw it in other teachers, I saw it in other classrooms, or it's something that I wanted to see in other classrooms. So when we would come together as educators, as part of our leadership program, we would get together and we would talk about things. And so I will always emphasize on, okay, you guys, like when we're educators, sometimes, we want kids to adjust to us, right? Like, this is my schedule, this is my routine, which is fine. You should have a routine in your classrooms and your rules. That's great. But at the same time, sometimes we have to adjust to them. So that's when the reflection comes in, where we see like if something we're doing is not working for them, then we have to reflect on, okay, how can I adjust to this? Because sometimes as educators, we get into a routine and every classroom you get is different. So you have to adjust to that. Every class, there are some things you can look at and be like, okay, I'm going to do this year, and you can kind of learn from it and then take it into the next year. But sometimes you can get a totally different classroom, a totally different generation, and you have to adjust to it. So instead of trying to get them to, adjust to you so much, sometimes we just have to adjust to them. And then when you get there, when you start building that relationship between the teacher and the student, and it's not a struggle in between, because at this point, if you be so like, oh, I want you to do it this way, it's going to be a struggle, right? So I will always emphasize, let's meet, let's kind of adjust our schedule to meet the kids' needs, and let's think about some of the things that they need from us to help us succeed. So, and you see that in the book about believe me, because sometimes as a teacher, sometimes a student may not be looking at you and you think they're not listening, right? But in some cases they are. That looking away or that funneling with something helps them focus. And
Right.
and sometimes things that we think may be a behavior problem is not really a behavior problem. It's just what they need at that moment in time. And you'll be surprised how many students, when they do an activity, if I'm talking about something and we get ready to do the activity, they're spot on, even though they're not looking at they, even though it seems they weren't engaged, right? They can have their head down, but they can get up and do the work. So I will always like when I hear teachers say, "Oh, they would get so frustrated about it," but I'll always remind them to just be patient. One, wait, and see what the result is before we judge. So that's kind of how um, it came about me seeing it in the school system and trying to correct it in a positive way if I see something not going well between another student and the teacher, but doing it in a positive way, which is what this book is about too, right? So if you need something, writing something in a positive way, talking about it in a positive way, hopefully they'll receive it in a positive way as well.
Right.
That's awesome. I think I speak for everyone here that says, I wish we had a teacher like you when I was in
Amen.
school.
Amen.
So true. So true.
So,
Amen.
all right, can you hold up your book?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So,
It's so
can we,
pretty.
yes, can we all agree that is the cutest little
See,
girl?
it is
Yeah.
beautiful.
She will be second to my granddaughter only, but she is the cutest little girl, and you had the most beautiful illustrations in that book.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, they did a
Agreed.
great
Thank
job.
you. And did you notice her pencil? It says "Believe in me." See her pencil.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I love it.
All right, so Joyce, tell us, because I saw in the book that you, the artist, was a youth artist with Cameron Creations. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So Shiro Publishing is who I went with to publish my book, and they do in-house illustration, and it is Cameron.
Oh,
Her name is Cameron Green, and so yeah, she's awesome. I just when
yeah.
I sent her my story at first, I was a little nervous at first. I was like, I have this story, I had it for years. My husband's been telling me to get it published, and I'm nervous about illustration. And they said, "Don't worry about it, we got you." Right. So, and I remember when I sent her all of my stuff, and I kind of put in my manuscript, I kind of put in what I wanted to look like. And when she sent it over, it was beyond what I had ever imagined. Like she went what I said I wanted and over and beyond that I didn't even think about. So she was
Oh,
very good at creating what I have put together and just bringing it to life. Like she really brought it to life. And she's actually a student too. She's still
oh
a student with
wow.
Chapel Hill. So shout out to
Nice.
Cameron.
Oh wow.
Absolutely. So, how purposeful were the details in the illustrations? Because you have, you know, children of color, the teacher is of color. You have flags in the background. You have "Believe in Me" in the pencil.
Mhm.
So how
Can
important
you
was
show
that
us
to you?
another picture?
Yes. You just
I
want the
didn't mean to
cover,
cut you off, Ruth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
The
It's
one
beautiful.
inside.
the one inside. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So yes. So let me show you the one. The one that Ruth is talking about is one of this one.
Look at that.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. She is for the darling. I want a doll. I want a doll like that now.
See, and the flags and the picture. This is another one of my favorite.
Oh, that is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Bright eyes.
And the flags is represent this can relate to kids all over the world, you know,
Yes.
all cultures or religion or race. Even though she is even though she is an African American beautiful young lady, anybody can relate to the story, which is
Yeah.
why and also in the book, let me show you, there are
Other
different
little kids.
kids,
Yep.
different hairstyles,
Yes, I was
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
um, making it diverse, and just letting kids know it's okay. That's what makes us
Hmm.
unique. In the book, we have vocabulary words that kids can focus on and learn them to learn how to express how they may be feeling, or when they do start writing their letters to their teachers, they know what to put in it. But yeah, so thanks for asking that question, Ruth.
Oh, of course, of course. So, what was your biggest challenge with this whole process?
The biggest challenge, there really wasn't a whole lot because I had
Oh, that's
written
good.
it. Yeah, yeah, I had already written it. I think
Oh,
the
okay.
I think the most challenging part was sometimes like I said, it wasn't a whole lot.
Uh-huh.
It was making sure that the character, her description
Hmm.
of what she was portraying in the story was visual,
Mm.
and we and focusing on her, like
Hmm.
building the story around her. And for because the most challenging part was I could not figure out if I wanted to give her a name. So at first I was like, well, maybe I should let the kids create her name. Like when I'm reading it, they could be like, what do you think her name should be? And then I was thinking, okay, yeah, I'm gonna give her a name, because eventually I decided I'm going to give her a name. So she does have a name in the story. So that was my biggest challenge. Should I have a name or shouldn't I have a name? And but I did come up with a name, and I'm glad I did.
Good.
I'm glad I did.
No, and I think it adds to it because even though, I mean, there's only going to be a certain amount of children with that same name, but I think they will see something of themselves in that book.
Right.
So I think you made a good choice,
Thank
Joyce.
you.
Hmm. All right, Andrea, what you got?
Well, I want to switch gears on Joyce just a little bit because I want to know a little bit more about you. Where are you from? Where were you born and raised, and do you have siblings, and
Yes.
what did they think, and those kinds of things? I
Okay.
want to know about the author, not
Okay.
just the book tonight. You're just so pleasant, and you have worked so hard and so diligently at this, and there's something in your demeanor that I'm going to say, if I could go back to school and just kind of sit in the back of the classroom, I'd feel so good every day.
Oh, thank you.
Just because of the way that you have presented this and presented your ideas. And it is obvious and it is evident that you really care
Mhm.
about kids, and you care about learning and their journey and how they're feeling about everything. So tell us a little bit more about Joyce.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. So I'm from Wilson. I was born and raised in Wilson, North Carolina. I was
Okay.
born there. I went to Wilson County school system. So I was born there all my life. I have two sisters and I have two brothers.
Oh,
And I am the baby. So that says a lot, right?
It actually does. Yes, that says a lot.
I am the baby of the family.
Oh,
So, and I'm glad you asked me that question, Ms. Hines, because it does, the way I come across and the way I approach anything is because how I was raised, right? And it's about being the baby of the family. And I tell people all the time, I was blessed enough to be the baby because, my oldest brother is like 50. I don't want to say his age, but he's in his 50s, right? And then
wow.
I'm 41. So
Okay.
I got to see all of their mistakes, right? And I got to see all of the good things that they did. I got to see all of that stuff. So I learned from them, and and not only that, by being the baby of the family, so most of the times I was left at home with my mom. So wherever she went, I went with her. So when we would go places and I would listen to older women that she would talk to, I mean, wise older women, right? So I kind of have a little old soul to me because I learned so much from being with her and listening to those stories. And then me being young in high school and listening to their stories and then kind of meshing it together, like, I think I like the older people's story better than this. I think I'm gonna follow their guidance because they've been through life. So I know what I want to do. I know what I don't want to do, and I know what's mistakes I don't want to make. So that's where I come from as a person. Like I'm always gonna have an old soul. I'm not into, oh, this is the way this has to be, this new generation, or they say you're supposed to do this. You say, well, okay, that may be good for you, but that may not be good for me because I have stories in my head of things that I've heard wise people say and tell me, as honey, when you get older, do this. Honey, when you get older, I've lived it, I did it. So, and I took those advices to the heart. So, shout out
Right.
to my mom for having me last because I'm telling you, I learned so much from her. And when my mom used to tell me something, I took it to heart. I listened to the tea because I was going to be the baby that listened to everything.
Oh,
But not only that, my education experience as a young child influenced me too. So I had good teachers and I had bad teachers. But one thing that I've learned, the good teachers outweighed
Oh yeah.
the bad teachers. So
good. Amen.
so the good teachers, they taught me how to study. If I didn't do well, they would encourage me, okay, if you don't know how to do this, do it this way. So by the time if I did get a bad teacher, he didn't care what they said to me because such and such teacher said that I was the best student she ever had. She said I was smart. So no matter what she says, I'm smart, right?
Right.
So and I tell teachers this all the time, it only takes one good teacher.
Right.
One good teacher.
That's true.
And I need that to say is because of my mom, as strong as a woman she was my first teacher. And I tell parents that too. Okay, parents, you're your first child's teacher, and then it's me, or then it's the educator. So I had a good mom, she was my first teacher, and then I went into the education system and I knew the bad teachers from the good teachers. So but no matter what they said, they couldn't convince me, I was not that student because I was. So at a very young age, first grade, I knew I wanted to be a teacher.
Wow.
Wow.
I knew that I wanted to be a teacher because I wanted to be like the good teachers. I wanted to be that teacher that inspires another student to do their best no matter what. You can do it, no matter what disability or anything that you may have, vision. I wore glasses. I had to sit in front of the classroom all the time. And then, there was times where a teacher would put me in the back, right? But I knew because of my other teacher, I'd be like, I need to sit in the front because I can't see. So I had to advocate for myself.
Wow.
But I learned that from my teachers and my mom, all of them and the women, like, you need something, you need to speak up. And sometimes I spoke up a little too much, but it got me in trouble. But I'm glad, and this is why the book is so important too. And I dedicate this book to the students who ever felt unseen, unheard, or you didn't have anybody to advocate for you. And I want
Right.
to let them know that we do see you, and I definitely see you, but sometimes we do see you and we understand. And no matter what, if you need to express your feelings in a positive way, because everything doesn't have to be negative, you can do it in a positive way. You have a tool right in front of you. You can write a letter. I know that may seem old fashioned to some people. If you don't want to write a letter, send an email. I mean, whatever makes you in a well way to give you a way to promote or advocate for yourself is so important. Doing that is so important. And I'm going to share a story. I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to share a story. So one day I was in class, and I never forget this day. And we were sitting there, and the person came into the room, and they said, "This is our test scores. You know, these are our test scores." And they said, and majority of the African American students had scored low. So they was like, "I'm ashamed to be Black," right?
Oh, wow.
I remember seeing them. The kids was like, and I didn't even hesitate. I don't know what I was thinking. And I said, "No one asked you to be Black, right?" But I remember back, like on that moment, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that because I got in trouble. But now that I look back on it, it's like, I wish I would have had tools to say, well, that really wasn't nice to say, but because the way it came at me as a child, that's the way I reacted to it.
Right.
So that's my experience too, which is why I wanted to become an educator, because I wanted to change the narrative of teachers and people in admin administrations and all of that stuff. But sometimes students don't have people to speak up for them.
Right.
They don't have it. They don't have it. And when I said that, I got in trouble. I got Saturday school, and it was a mess. But let me tell you what one teacher did. So I had Saturday school. I had to go in, and everybody tried not to let me get Saturday school, but it didn't work. So my teacher came in on the weekend and got me out of Saturday school and took me to her class, and she told the person she needs to help me with something.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So those are the good teachers.
Yes.
That make a difference.
Yes.
Make that imprint. And I think that's wonderful. We have one of our viewers on the line tonight who is saying, "Thank God for you."
Amen. Yeah.
Really echo that sentiment.
Yes.
It's funny because we talked, I think last week or a couple of weeks ago, we were talking with authors and asking the question, how did you know? Because we've run across authors who have said, when I was a little girl, or when I was in school, or when I was a little guy, I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Right.
And, I had no clue. I'm not in that camp, but I'm not in that group. But to know that you were passionate about education when you were small, to the point that you knew that that's what you wanted to do, and that's how you wanted to help bridge what are often gaps between students and teachers, and parents and teachers, and just getting that melting pot together.
Yes.
So that it works and works for everybody. Because you were saying in listening and thinking about these things on your way home, it was changing the way that you were operating in the classroom. And that, I'm sure, is not what you intended or what you thought was going to happen. You did mention that you had written the book and you had to be encouraged. You were encouraged to go ahead and finish the project, finish the writing of it. Once you made the decision, okay, I'm going to make this a book and I'm going to do this, how long did it take you?
Oh, a month and a half.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. Once I sent my template to Shiro Publishing, they were on it. It took a month. Because they were sending me stuff weekly. It didn't take long at all.
Oh,
It was
wow.
really fast.
Okay. We have some couple of new listeners on the line. Liz, thank you for being with us tonight. And Mamie Branch has joined us, and she's new to Authors Up. Thank you for coming in. And Angie Alfon out of South Carolina is on the line as well tonight. So they are enjoying listening to you and listening to your story and how you have done this and made a difference. How long did the book actually sit? Because you said you let it sit for a while.
Maybe
It's like a
That long.
thing.
7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, wow.
Shout
I'm
out
gonna get
to
ready to
my
say 2 years.
shout out to my husband. He was like, "Okay, all right, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do?"
Oh, wow.
But I always had it. Like I wrote it down. I always had it by my bed, right?
Mhm.
And he was like, "So when are you gonna do? When you gonna do this?" And he was like, "Okay, now you need to get serious about this. Like, let's just."
I mean, I hope people are really, really listening because it is never too late.
No.
Right.
It is never
Right.
too late. If you have that dream and you have that book in your mind and you have that concept in your head, look, it may take 7 years, it may take 7 days, it may take whatever the length of time is. Don't give up on it. There
Yeah.
is something that made you write it, and whatever made
Right.
you write it, that idea and that thought is there
Yes.
because it is going to make a difference in somebody else's life. So
Mhm.
I am
Yeah.
so glad that your husband kept encouraging you. And you see, it wasn't difficult to go from
No.
the concept to the publishing piece, because if you could do that in a month and a half or whatever, and you had it sitting there all that time. And I just applaud you for following through, for
Thank
getting
you.
to that point where you said, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. And I tell you, I not only love the book, but I just love looking at it because I love the little people. I love those little people. Your illustrator was amazing, and I applaud you for
Thank you.
completing the entire process. And I'm going to stop because I tell you what, our time will go out so quickly, and I want to be sure that Victoria has an opportunity to talk to you and come on, Vicky.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. But y'all know what I'm gonna say out there in our podcast and viewer land. Get the book. Get the book. Even if you don't have a child anymore, I said before we came on the the stream
Right.
tonight, the program tonight. I said I wish I had your book when my girls were coming up. Because sometimes teachers did not treat them kindly. And I said I would have taken as one teacher I know and slapped upside the head with your book because she wasn't nice to my baby. But it's we're sitting talking about educators. I know I have two teachers who made a profound difference in my life.
Mhm.
And I'm 60 years old, and I remember Miss Sims in English telling me that I knew how to dangle them participles. Do y'all remember that when you used to have to take the sentence and do the diagram and put
No.
somebody out there remembers dangling participles, right? Come on, y'all. We had to take the sentence, and you had to put what the noun and the verb was, and then to do the diagram, then hang it down, and then you write the adjective down there. Come on, nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Anyway,
Maybe
I
they
do,
do things
Victoria.
differently up in New York.
okay. But I remember my sixth grade teacher. Her name was Miss Lamb, and then she became Miss Armstrong, and she was telling me, my handwriting was atrocious, and that's when they taught handwriting in school. And she came by my desk one day, and she said, "Oh, that is a beautiful pig." She was, Jamaican, and she said, "That is a beautiful pig," and I was like, Miss Lamb said that it was a beautiful pig I wrote. But those educators who are encouraging, and you sound like that kind of person. And I know that I feel like I would have just you leaving an impression on us now. So I know your students, are you still in touch with some of your students? Are they still kind of reach out to you or no? You said you
No,
transfer from
no.
elementary.
Now, sometimes if I cross, like if I'm in a store, or
Yeah.
something, they may see me, but no.
Yeah. But see, when they see you, I'm like, Miss
Yeah.
Rouse, because you're that kind of person. And
Yeah.
I just thank you for taking the time to, hey, number one, be with us, but write such a beautiful book.
Thank
When
you.
I was looking through it, I said, oh, what a beautiful baby girl. I'm telling you, a doll for the
Yeah.
baby. You heard it first here on Authors Up.
She can be target merchandising now, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. But my other question is, what's next? I know you will have something else inside of you
Yeah.
besides, there got to be a part two to this little baby girl.
And I have other stories too that wasn't
Okay.
related to this, but after people been reading the book, they was like,
Yeah.
okay, this part two. They want to see her journey. Like
Yes.
what's next for her? What is it
Yes.
like? It's something, and I haven't even thought about that. Like I just wrote, that didn't even cross my mind. But the more I started thinking about it, I was like, okay, part
All
two.
right.
So
Thank
that's
you. Baby girl goes to high school, part 7. She's so cute. She
She
really is.
is. She is.
And you did a wonderful job. I
Thank
was going to
you.
ask you also, how has the book been received?
Good. So
Really?
from an adult perspective, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have been saying who moms were teachers. Like I see my mom in there, or like you said, they experienced it, or some of the words in there hit home, so it kind of made them cry, which I wasn't expecting. So
Oh,
that was something new. And
right.
I had just had a little girl read it, and she was like, "Oh, this reminds me of journaling," or
Oh,
she named her teacher, and she was like, "I like the pictures." Like she liked her hair, so
yes.
and I'm glad she could relate to that with her hair. So
Mhm.
I've been really shocked by some of because I've been writing in the process. So when I
Right.
hear people talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, like
Is that me?
yeah.
I understand. I am well. I'm definitely going to give you a review. The book can be found where?
At ShiroBookstore.com. You can go in there
Okay.
and Dear Teacher Believe in Me, and you can order it from there and
Okay.
get your copy in the mail. So
All
please do that.
right. So it's not on Amazon or anything like that?
Yes, it is. It is
It
on
is okay.
Amazon as well. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure I go and give you a review because it is just beautiful, y'all. Get the book, get the book. And you told us where you could find it. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners if they wanted to get in touch with you, would they go to Shiro Publishing as well?
No, they can reach me by email at rouseliteracy@gmail.com.
All right, all right. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it first here. We're gonna see some dolls. We're gonna see baby girl go to high school. We're gonna hear it all. Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
Oh my God.
much.
One thing that we always say is that you never know what's going to happen when you tune in.
Well, I didn't tell a bad story, so I'm good.
Not all of it. That's
It
all.
has given you a new marketing plan. If you weren't thinking about these things, you got to think about them now.
Okay. Mhm.
But I tell you, Joyce, it's been a delight having you on
Thank
and
you.
Absolutely.
sharing with us how this came to be, how Dear Teacher came to be, because it really is one of those things. I think all of us can say something about the one teacher, if it's only one, that made a difference in their life. Mine was
Mhm.
a fourth grade teacher named Miss Simons, and she
See?
introduced me to theater. She took me to my very first
Mhm.
live production,
See?
Yep.
writing plays and things now. And I think it's because of her and because of the impact she had. So for those of you who are listening out there or viewing the program, viewing the broadcast, always remember that sometimes when we say that we want to make a difference and we want to be a blessing, we think it's some
Yeah.
great, huge thing
Right.
that we have to come up with, and something that's extremely costly and all of that. But you know what? It can be a word from a teacher in a
Right.
great book with an illustration of a bright-eyed little girl. And it
Yeah.
can make all the difference in the world. So Joyce, thank you so much for following through, for writing it, for being on with us tonight. Nikayetta is naming her teacher that she remembers
Oh,
lessons that made a difference in her life. So we thank you for that, Nikayetta. And
wait a minute. Wait, I want to say one thing. Some of the comments, they said they remember how you had to break down the sentence. They remember too. Thank you. Thank you. I want to just acknowledge that. Thank you. Uh,
I can't. I just can't.
I'm telling you, I dangled that participle.
I think we should end there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think so. And you know what to do, Ruth. You know, I always come back to you.
Yes, please. So follow us on social media. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, search for Authors Up Show. You can also catch a replay of this particular broadcast on Saturday at 7 p.m. here on Facebook, or they will be the show will be uploaded to YouTube in podcast middle of the week. So you can take those with you wherever you go. If you have any questions for our author, if you have interested in becoming a guest, you can email us at authorsup@gmail.com.
All right.
Well
Thanks
done.
for having me, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Of
thank
course.
you. Thank
Sure.
you. And you were so nervous for what? See?
You were so you were speaking about the some of the suggestions that you have gotten. So I know this will not be the last time that Authors Up sees Joyce Rouse. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, and we look forward to your next project. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And that is it for us for tonight. Ladies, thank you for always being a joy to be around and to spend Sunday evening with. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our listeners and our viewers for participating in our 7 p.m. program. And we hope that you'll make us a regular on your schedule. We hope that you will be back with us next week. We have a great replay that we have. Something from the archives is going to bless you. And we hope that you will tune back in next Sunday night at 7 p.m. and be right here. Thank you again. You all, we appreciate you. We couldn't do it without you. And we know that you're going to have an absolutely amazing week next week. So thank you again for being a part of Authors Up. That's it for the evening. See you soon.
Good night, Browns girls.
Good night.